I'd like to talk with you today about DNA. We have, as a human race, recently discovered DNA. It's created a whole world of possibilities. Before that, medicine was limited. Since DNA, doctors can figure things out more clearly. There's a whole group of TV shows based on DNA and murder mysteries that you wouldn't have had before. It is the stuff of what is the material of human life. And genes and chromosomes can tell us a lot, even in anticipation of what may occur for us. Sometimes somebody, God forbid, has cancer, and they realize that other people in the family might be disposed toward it and try to prevent it because they test their DNA. Some people can anticipate all kinds of things for themselves about their medical health. Now, it's always been there, but we've recently discovered it and are doing great things with it. You yourself might be the happy recipient of that kind of knowledge, directly or maybe for your family. The DNA tells us that chromosomes and genes are passed from conception to ourselves, and then it grows. It's not done. It's the core, but it can develop and does develop beautifully. Even before we knew it, scientifically, we have known it as a human race. We say such things like, you have your father's eyes, or you're bald like your father. And those superficial features indicate a great deal about what's passed on even in our personalities. Well-mannered, ill-tempered, talented about one thing and or the other, limited about one thing or the other. That's passed on too, invisibly, but along with what is visibly transferred. And a lot of it is due to the woman that we honor today who is unique in our life. Dad had, of course, something to do with it, but he gets honor next month. Today, we think about the woman who passed on the DNA. There are other people who are in our life that are like our moms. Sometimes they're more like our moms than our biological mother. In 43 years as a priest, every year I talk about mothers, and I've noticed that I've had to change some things. 43 years ago, you could talk a little bit more confidently about some things that you can't take for granted today, because even that relationship is wounded because of society's disintegration. And people might not have a very good relationship with their mother, living or deceased. If you don't have that, thank God for it. If you do know that, you have to remember one thing. She was or is human. And you don't really get it until you yourself become a mother. And then all of a sudden everything is in perspective. As my mother used to say, you hear this a lot, you know, you guys didn't come with what do you call it, operating manual. I didn't know what I was doing as I was doing it. And even if she had many children, the manual that came with me, she had to put away and get another manual for my brother next, because it's different personalities, different limits, different talents. So it was an adventure, and she was or is human, limited too. And she did or does what she can with what she has herself, or in the circumstances of your family life. So for some people, this needs to be a day of forgiveness too, as well as honoring the one who passed on an awful lot to us, along with others who have too, but in the most fundamental, physical, natural, and supernatural way. So the United States is very good about honoring moms on a day like this, and has for a number of decades now, I think. And it's good. But for us who are believers, we take another level to this. There's the natural relationship passed on from DNA. And then there's another level, the supernatural level. Because we believe that along with the genes and the chromosomes, what happens is that a soul begins, a human life, naturally and supernaturally. The spark of God occurs at conception. It's the reason why the church continues to defend the sanctity of human life, especially, but not only, at conception. And we will continue to do it. People inside and outside the churches say, when are you going to give that up? Well, we can't. We won't. Even if some people claim that they're devout Catholics. Because what occurs due to mom and dad is a passing on of divine life. And that's what makes it of God, that which is in the womb, and then develops. And in the great mystery of that little universe, made by the one who made the bigger universe, a whole series of things kick into play. Our life. And these two central characters, mom and dad, were at it from the beginning with God and God with them. And today is a day to acknowledge that, up against the background of the woman whom we honor, hopefully lovingly, hopefully compassionately, that we say, thank you. Jesus said in the gospel, lay down one's life. Moms do that in a lot of ways. Maybe not so dramatically as you might think what Jesus is saying, but nevertheless, day after day, decade after decade, following from playpen on and being there. There was a pope for only 33 days a little while ago. You may not remember him, Pope John Paul I. Does anybody remember him? They called him the smiling pope. I think he was smiling because he only was pope for 33 days. And in his few times of speaking as the pope, he said, Jesus taught us to call God our Father, but God is our mother too. What is a mother, he said? Somebody who is always there, judgmental for your good, not judgmental, hopefully, about your dignity, listening, prodding, encouraging, crying with you. Some even have the horrible task of, like Mary, being at the side of their child dying. That's laying down one's life. And just like Jesus said in the gospel today, it was not you who chose me, it was I who chose you. You could put that on the lips of your mother. You didn't choose me, for good or ill. I chose you, especially today when there are so many opportunities to throw away a child. So we're honoring the one who laid down her life. And if she is with you, wonderful. If she is not, that she be with God. And to say that mom and dad were partakers of communicating the divine life, not just the human life, the divine life of God. It's made even more beautiful when they have actually practiced their faith. And we actually see their faith and then take it on ourselves, for ourselves. That's being a mother in the true Christian sense. Recognizing a woman of faith, not perfect, loving and forgiving, and very often doing it with other people and for other people, that we are not their biological parent. Jesus himself knew that. He got his DNA from her, but not from him. But he was in all ways except one, a father to him, like many people are father or mother to others who do not claim them as their biological parent. So we have, again, these two great figures to put against the background of this wonderful civil holiday. But for us, it's a lot more. It's the design of God. Biology shows it more and more. Psychology shows it more and more. But our theology and our spirituality has always acknowledged it. So let us rejoice in what this is for us, an opportunity to see God as our parent, both mother and father, in all of the qualities that we hopefully have had in our life, because God is love, as we heard in the beautiful second reading. God is love. And you can also say, love is God. May God bless you all.